Hey, I bet you clicked on this video to figure out why insurance won't cover that pesky item you need, or why even with insurance you still have to pay. In this video, we will be discussing many categories of DME supplies that we carry and restrictions of insurance set on these items. In the video play bar below, it is divided up into segments to help you find the information you're searching for. Let's jump straight into our first segment, which is
LCDs, HCPCS, and ICD-10, oh my, insurance and coverage of medical equipment can be complicated. So we want to try to look at a couple of different item categories and simplify this for you. But let's start with a couple of breakdown of the acronyms that we have. LCDs is local coverage determination. What that means is that is set forth by an insurance company to give the guidelines of what is covered within medical equipment. The LCD gives the details specifically of what is covered and what is not covered based on the guidelines they set forth. So within that, you have to meet those criteria. Up underneath that, there are two other acronyms that kind of come into play with that. HCPCS is the coding system within medical equipment. The item has to be coded, so therefore if it's not coded, it is not covered. For an item to be coded, the manufacturer has to go before and present the information to a company called PDAC, and they will determine if the item meets the criteria to be coded for that specific item. Based on that, if the item is given approval, then that code is specific to that item, and that item then, therefore, if it meets the guidelines of the LCD, can then be covered. The secondary part of that is the ICD-10 code. That is the diagnosis code. So not only does the equipment need to be coded, but the injury or condition needs to be coded as well. So under the LCD, you have to meet the coding guideline for the equipment and the coding guideline for the individual injury that you're being coded for or prescribed for. So based on all of that information, you've got to meet those guidelines first before things can be considered covered. The second part of that would be your actual insurance contract. So within your insurance contract, you have to understand your deductible for the year, your copays, your doctor's visits and copays on that end as well. There are many times that we have customers that will come in and they would actually pay more money if they decided to use their insurance versus if they were to make a retail purchase of the item. Sometimes it does not make sense to go to the doctor, pay a copay, then come to us and pay a copay as well, because that item might be less expensive if you were to go ahead and purchase the item without using your health insurance. To simplify all of this, what I would recommend is to give us a call. We'd be happy to discuss the details and the coverage ideas of what you are being prescribed. Just because your doctor prescribes an item, just because you would benefit greatly from that item, does not mean it's always going to be covered by your insurance, or if that coverage is going to be your best financial decision.
Thanks, Andy, for that intro to insurance coverage guidelines. These amazing chairs behind me are called lift chairs. They're used to raise a patient to a semi-standing position when they may not be able to do it themselves. I bet you would love one of these comfortable chairs. Well, guess what? Insurance has you covered. Not quite. Insurance can and will only pay for things that meet a certain criteria. The LCD shown on screen shows that insurance will only pay for this motor, or what they call it, a seat lift mechanism. Even though the entire chair is not covered by insurance, you do have options. These chairs can be purchased outright, rented, or purchased through our payment plans. And let's toss things over to Andy.
Let's talk about walkers and rollators. This is a very unique walker made by Stander. It is the lightest and most compact walker with front wheels that is made. Great item for someone that has trouble getting a walker into a car because of the size or the weight. This weighs in at 8 pounds. However, it's not covered by insurance. It's not covered for a couple of reasons, but the biggest one is it's not coded. So it doesn't meet the coding guidelines. So that goes into what we've already talked about as an item needing to be coded. Let's talk about a couple of other factors that can come in as well. So we have a standard rollator here. It's got 6-inch wheels, very small, very lightweight, can be used. This is an example of something that could be covered by insurance if the patient qualifies with the other guidelines. However, if you need bigger wheels, bigger seat, a bigger back, this item might not be the best for you. That's where we can come in and talk about this item here. 8-inch wheels versus the 6-inch wheels, a larger backrest, a larger seat. It's adjustable for the height of the seat from the ground as well as the handles as well. This item is great. This item is coded, however, covered and paid for are two different items. The cost of this is more than what Medicare would reimburse for a standard rollator. So therefore, the item might be coded and covered, but the cost outweighs what the insurance company would reimburse. So therefore, it's not going to be covered. You can't use Medicare's money and then pay the difference. You have to choose, are we going through insurance or are we going to pay for an item that would be better for us? The last item I want to talk about, I'll use the same one as a description. This is a standard rollator, meaning in between the arms, you're about 18 inches. We had a patient come in that was 6 feet tall and 280 pounds. They're going to struggle to fit in between the arms of this because of the size. The better fit for that patient would be the bariatric or the heavy duty version of this, 23 inches in between the arms. This is a better fit for the patient, but because of Medicare guidelines, it's not covered. You have to be over 300 pounds to qualify for this item. If you were that size, you would get the standard one, which is not going to fit your need. So 3 good examples of why insurance is not always the best option because of what is best for you might not meet their guidelines. Hope this helps.
So let's talk about what insurance will cover in the bathroom. So as you can see, nothing in the bathroom is covered by insurance. Shower chairs, transfer benches, or any type of toilet accessory like an elevated seat or rails would not be covered by insurance. They also won't cover any home modifications like a grab bar to help you with stability. As you can see, there are only 2 items left on the wall behind me. These are our 3-in-1 bedside commodes. These items are actually covered by insurance because their primary use is in the bedroom and not in the bathroom. Therefore, insurance won't cover any item that's truly meant for the bathroom. So moving on to our next segment.
Let's talk about CPAP machines and masks and supplies and some of the restrictions you might run into with those. There are parts of masks that you might run into that are every 3 months for the frame and the cushion. Sometimes the headgear is every 6 months. What happens when your dog eats your mask? And it might not be time for a new supply. So we got to consider things like that. Find a local supplier that you can rely on, that you can come in and get the supplies you need when you need them, not just relying on what your insurance will allow you to do. Let's talk about machines. If you get a machine, you might have to wait in timeframes between that every 5 years. That seems like a very long time. What if you travel for work or pleasure? Travel machines like the Transcend Micro are not covered by insurance. So you choose what you want on your time frame and not let insurance dictate that. What about cleaning supplies? Cleaning supplies like machines, wipes, any kind of solutions, those are not covered either. So before you rely on your insurance for your coverage with CPAP, think about what you might run into as well.
Let's transition into a larger item, hospital beds. These beds allow you to adjust the position of your head and feet to alleviate pain or with help transitioning in and out of the bed. The qualifications of insurance to cover an item of this size are rigorous, as shown on screen. Insurance will cover only standard options and will not pay for any luxury items, such as fully electric hospital beds. Fully electric hospital beds have an extra motor that will allow you to adjust the height of the bed to the floor. As Medicare states themselves, you can see on screen that fully electric hospital beds are not covered because the ability to adjust the height is considered a convenience and not a medical benefit. In many cases after surgeries, hospital beds are not covered, but we do have options such as short-term private rentals. You can also purchase these beds outright or through our payment plans. In this segment, I'm going to be talking about power mobility. All of the items behind me are considered travel items, therefore they're generally not going to be covered by insurance. As you can see on screen, these items are labeled not coded, therefore they cannot be filed to any insurance company. And they are considered travel items because they can fold or break down into multiple components, allowing you to lift or transport them easier. Now, you may have spoken with your insurance company and they said they will provide a power scooter for you, but it won't be what you're looking for. They're going to provide a big bulky scooter that you can't lift, let alone transport. On the other hand, if you're looking for an option to transport to and from somewhere, you'll need to invest in a travel mobility option that insurance will not cover. And guess what? If you qualify and insurance provides that big power scooter for you, there are products that can help you transport it. Companies make these marvelous lifts that allow you to transport that big scooter. But the kicker is, insurance won't pay for vehicle modifications. While we're on the topic, let's talk about home and vehicle modifications. As stated earlier in the bathroom segment, Home modifications are not covered by insurance companies, and tagged along with that are vehicle modifications. So if you were needing a ramp to get that power scooter or wheelchair in and out of your house, or a power mobility lift to transport that scooter from point A to point B, you will have to invest into one of those alternatives without the help of insurance. All the information presented in the video can be found in the links below. If you still find yourself having questions, feel free to drop a comment down below or call our store during business hours. Our team members are here to serve you and provide you with the information you're looking for. And if we can't find the answer, we'll guide you in the right direction. Linked below is our website where you can find specs to most of the items discussed in this video, along with our contact information. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on the latest medical equipment, along with tips and tricks to help improve daily living.